All right, welcome back. We are ACI Course 8, Class 2, March 27, 2025. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Deep down, we know this is what we are meant to do. And learning about karma and emptiness, we get glimpses of how it's possible, of why we're meant to become this being made of love, made of compassion, made of wisdom. And so feel that wish within you. Feel some determination to bring it about. Then turn your mind back to your precious holy being. we know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please teach us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings complete their total awakening for the benefit of every single other. So thank you everybody for doing your homeworks. Doesn't it feel good to have them done? Yay. Last class, we learned the text that we are studying for to learn about the realms of existence. So that text we learned was the Chunipadzu Abhidharma Kosha Karika in Sanskrit, written by Master Vasubandhu 350 AD. We're only studying the 3rd chapter in this course. And it talks about how our world comes into being and how it gets destroyed and what it consists of. So it particularly goes into details about the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm, which are the 3 realms that make up our suffering world. So we learned that the desire realm is divided into 50 different parts, right? Langsang says no. You're saying it's divided into way more than 50 because there's so many more beings than just 50, right? No, you're not saying that either. So you're saying it's made up of fewer than 50 parts. Yes. See, when you say yes, you're on the hook. So you can tell us how many parts the desire realm is divided into.
Okay, it's divided into 20 parts, starting with the eight health beings, then the craving spirit, and the animals, and these are the lower birds. And then you have 10 so-called higher birds or happier rebirths. Uh, four types of human beings because of four continents,
Nice.
and then six types of pleasure beings in the desire realm.
Nice. That makes 20. And then we learned that the nature of the desire realm is to desire living in a garden of roses, right? Come on, somebody play. You could say yes. And that would take most of class. So since nobody's playing with me, the nature of the desire realm is the desire for food and sex. And that's like raw and direct. And we could say sustenance and procreation. And that would make it a little bit more like didactic. And right, Geshe says, just think of it as food and sex. Then we learned about the form realm, and we learned there's a reason it's called the form realm. And he's not really asking what the reason is. He's asking, like, what does it mean, form realm? And we learned that the form realm is called the form realm because it's the realm in which form has reached its highest expression. So when we're talking about existence, I mean, we can't help but talk about it from a human perspective because that's what we seem to be. So from a human perspective, the form is meaning our heap of form, which it's not limited to this, right? It's any form that we can experience. So the material world of the form realm is at its highest expression, meaning exquisite beauty and pleasure. Form of form, right? Of material things. Quiz question 5 was, the question asked, why do the four levels of the form realm consist of 17 sections? But the answer isn't why. Really, the question is, how is it that the 4 levels of the form realm consist of 17 different sections? Just break it down and do the math is the answer. So we learned that the first 3 levels of the form realm each have 3 sections each, like a beginning, a middle, and a higher. And then the 4th level has 8 sections. And we learned that the sections are the karmic results. This is the next question. Are the karmic results of the seeds made during certain levels of meditative concentration? So the last question on your quiz was, according to highest school, what ultimately causes each of the different realms and types of birth? So not just talking about the form realm, but talking about any of the levels of any of the realms. The ultimate causes, I mean, to really answer the question, you would say our behavior is the ultimate cause. And the reason our behavior is the ultimate cause is because the behavior, our minds perceive ourselves thinking, saying, doing, imprint that mind with the seeds that when they ripen are the causes of the experiences that we have. So ultimately, karmic projections onto otherwise blank screens are forced results from the past behaviors that created the causes of those results. So again, that's partly why to study it, so that we can understand the connection, we can better understand what our habitual behaviors might be planting the seeds for future experiences of, so that we can be motivated to, maybe I don't want to do that one so much or at all. And maybe I want to do more of this other one so that I can plant my seeds differently. So we're already well trained in that notion, but now we're learning greater specifics, deeper specifics, by way of learning what kinds of experiences one's mind could ripen us into as a whole lifetime, a whole life form. And then, our question to ourselves would be, how do I prevent those lower ones? And how do I cultivate the higher one that will keep me on my path? Because not all the higher ones are actually desirable. All of them are still in the cycle of suffering. So then we'd ask, how do I plant my seeds so that I can just get out of them altogether, right? Quit perpetuating this cycle of suffering. All right. So this class, the topic of this class is the formless realm and the 5 ways of taking birth. Yeah, okay. When this life ends, there will be a last moment of this life, and the ripening of seeds and the planting of seeds goes on without a pause. And so there'll be a last ripening of this life, and then there'll be a seed. They call it the projecting karma seed. That is the next one to go. And that next one will be followed by a whole bit much more. And that next seed, with all its attendants, is what shapeshifts our next experience. And we call it bardo and then rebirth. So in learning all this business about who's out there, what their suffering is, how it gets made, would also inspire us to live in such a way that we're making fewer seeds, that if one of those was the next one at the end of this lifetime, would decrease our risk of going to one of these lower realms, and how to make more seeds, any one of which would at the very least shapeshift us into another human life on the path, right? With some level of continuation of our program, which we learned about with our bodhisattva vows, that having bodhisattva vows and especially cultivating those 4 white deeds helps increase the chance of a lifetime, right, as bodhisattva again. They didn't say immediate next lifetime. because it would depend on how we live according to them and, what our purification practice is like, right? So we're just getting more information about the method of purify and make merit. So Abhidharma Kosha, chapter 3. You'll get some of it in your reading, and when you read it, I know I remember reading it for the first time, and it's like, my world's not like that. It felt a little bit like reading about before when the earth was flat, and everybody was afraid to go out on the ocean because that edge, you just fall off. And it's still a pretty convincing argument because that flat thing really does look flat and like an edge, but it's a little curious that you can't ever find it. You keep going and there it is again, and there it is again, like a bad dream. But still, it took a long time before someone saying, the earth is flat, that they would just be laughed at. And now, oh, we have photos from space that says, see, it really is round, right? I mean, my own mind still jumps to that conclusion. Proof, a photograph is proof. It's round, so it had to always be round. And when we thought it was flat, we were just mistaken because we didn't have spaceships to look back yet. And yet, right, we have enough study of the pen thing to know, hey, the world is no more round than it is flat, than it is 4 continents around a huge mountain. It's like, where is that mountain? Thank you very much, Master Vasubandhu. Where are those 4 continents? What good are mountains and continents if nobody but you can see them? And right, the argument that's going on in there is my own mind's insistence that the world is how I know it to be. And yet, right, we all know the pen thing. One thing not only can be different things to different beings, but in fact, any given thing is different things to different beings. Even when we agree, oh, this is a red and orange and gray pen. We say the words, but each of our experience is unique to each of us, isn't it? We know that. So here's Master Vasubandhu, and read the whole Abhidharma Kosha, we would recognize that the one who wrote it is an extraordinary realized being. He knows what he's talking about. And by the time we got to the end of the book, we then might think back to 3rd chapter and go, oh, maybe I was wrong to say that this is some kind of story to get us to behave, or some kind of story to get us more motivated in our practice. That maybe that really is what existence appears to be to a realized being like Master Vasubandhu. In which case, because he's gonna tell us about those 8 hot hells and those 8 cold hells, and about what it's like to be a hungry ghost and how you get there. And it's like, oh dear, right? This is serious business. Mm. So our perception of our world is valid. Master Vasubandhu's perception of the world is valid. That's what makes them real. Real for me and real for you and real for Master Vasubandhu. Someday we will perceive our world with greater wisdom and it will look vastly different than what it looks like to me now, because my me is colored by mistaken view, mistaken beliefs, creating mistaken seeds that ripen as mistaken world. So this text, Abhidharma Kosha, can be really, really helpful in our practice if we can understand it when we read it. And unfortunately, it's one of those texts that is written so cryptically that I can't understand it most of the time. And Vasubandhu didn't do that intentionally. It's just like, I don't think I could probably read Einstein's paper on how he derived, ultimate reality. That'd be written in code too. So it's not intentional code. It's the one who's writing it. It's so clear to them. It's like my lack that makes me not able to read it. So thank goodness there are other beings that recognize there's beings like me who need help, and they write commentaries. The commentary we're studying, we learned before, Tarlam Selje, by Gelwa Gendin Drup, 1391 to 1474. I have it written down. Don't think I'm smart like that. So those texts tell us our samsaric world is made up of 3 realms, not 3 places, but 3 states of mind. That we learn dukam, desire realm. The most gross realm, meaning the most obvious. So gross doesn't mean icky gross, although it is. It means, right, the most thick, the most obvious, the most, I don't know how else to describe that. Gross versus subtle. The state of minds of beings who are projecting desire realms are gross state of minds. We have gross likes and dislikes, meaning obvious, meaning coarse, there, maybe that's a better term, coarse. We struggle to get what we want and to avoid what we don't want. And those things that we want and don't want are experienced through our sensory functions. Right. The sukkam, the form realm, we learned last class, the mind of the form realm is more subtle. It has less, a lot less of this active desire, wanting and not wanting. It still has, it has experiences. It has awareness, of course, and it's mostly pleasurable, but then it ends. So they still have pervasive suffering. They still have the inevitability of death and then rebirth. the form realm is still samsaric in nature. It's not the desire realm, but it's still suffering realm. Then, more subtle yet, is the formless realm, suk me kam. Time for vocabulary. Suk me, formless. Not meaning non-form, no form at all, but meaning that the form that is in the formless realm is prana, energy, which if you compare like a solid object like a table to light, a ray of light, a table is a whole lot more solid than light. And then say the difference between a table's solidity and light's solidity is this much, right? I'm just making up a measurement. The difference between the solidity of light and the solidity of prana is beyond measure. Do you get it? Light is still a material thing. Prana is still a material thing, but so subtle. In the formless realm, there is still this very subtle form called prana, meaning simply wind, not climactic wind, just the impulse to movement. The mind of a being in the formless realm, its experience is this mind and this ever so subtle movement of it. And so being a formless realm being, there is nothing but awareness. And you think, well, there has to be awareness of something. Right. And that of something is so subtle that it's beyond what we can describe. So it's a realm of mind. I want to say mind only, but then they'll get in trouble because our minds go to mind only school, and that has nothing to do with it, right? It's mind. We experience ourselves as minds moving. And those minds have mental afflictions related to what the mind is experiencing, minding. So somehow in formless realm, one's mind can still experience jealousy. There's nobody that you're jealous of, no thing you're jealous of, but jealousy can happen. I don't understand it. It is still a very subtly suffering world because, again, there's no karmic goodness being replanted. Seems like there is, but there isn't. You're using up your karmic seeds that put you there. And when you're done with that, those karmic seeds ending, what's left is karmic seeds that are gross. We don't use up all our gross karmic seeds before we can get to a formless realm. It's that A seed ripens us into a formless realm being. And we still have all these other seeds that are not ripening as having gross reality, because what's filling in the details from that one seed is this whole lifetime as the formless realm being. But we wear them out and then drop into the realm made of those other seeds of a gross reality. So down you go. So the formless realm is not a realm, a spiritual, an educated Buddhist spiritual practitioner aspires to attain, because it's a dead end in the end. Geshe has shared that at certain level, certain bodhisattva levels, meaning you're on your fourth path and you're still doing your meditation, you're working with your 6 perfections, and you have realizations come from time to time. One can apparently, in deep meditation, he said, have your mind go to a Buddha paradise to get teachings. But he doesn't mean literally you go there. He tried to describe that your experience in that deep meditation will be an experience receiving teachings from Buddha in paradise. And Buddha will be in Buddha's paradise giving teachings. And your body is still in the desire realm, but the ripening of your mind seeds are such that you can receive these teachings from Buddha in Buddha's paradise. Right? Hard to, I can't quite grok that. But the idea is my experience and a Buddha's experience, like the pen. So something to look forward to. Now, in the formless realm, there are 4 levels. Like we said, there are, I forget how many we said, three levels of the form realm that have 17 sections. 4 levels of formless realm. Again, a realm that are just prana and mind, 4 different circumstances or qualities. Here's the name of the 4. Nam Kataye, Nam Shetaye, Chiongme, and Sitse. Anyone who's familiar with the lion's dance meditation, maybe these are familiar, these terms. Namka means space. Taye means limitless. So there is a level of the formless realm, like the first level, if you're stacking these one on top, in terms of level of subtlety, I'm not sure. Namkataye is the first. Limitless space. Namshe Taye means limitless awareness. Namshe is awareness. Chiang Mei means nothing at all. The level called nothing at all. And Sitse means the cyclic peak, P-E-A-K. C means cyclic, Se means peak, called the peak of existence. But bear in mind, it means the peak of suffering existence. Sisei is not the Buddha paradise. It means in suffering world, there is a realm, a level of the formless realm that is the most exquisite that it can be and still be suffering realm. So we already said that to experience ourselves as a form realm being, that comes as a result of a seed planted by a very deep level of meditation in which our awareness of sensory input is shut down. A single pointed focus that has those two Xinjiang concentration, and we go deeper and deeper and deeper. But we simply stay in the enjoyment of those deepening meditations. We don't use that finely honed microscope mind to turn it on to the true nature of the object that we are holding as our object of meditation. And so as we are in that deep concentrated state, we are planting seeds. One of those seeds is the one that pops at the moment of death. Not very likely, but if it does, then form realm rebirth happens. For formless realm, the level of meditative concentration, planting the seeds that could result in a formless realm lifetime, are all that more withdrawn, all that more subtle, and not used to turn to the true nature of the object, which we only need to be at that first level of the form realm quality of concentration to turn our mind to the insight meditation. There's no need to go into these deeper levels of meditation. But there are entire religious, spiritual teachings that believe that these levels of meditative concentration is the goal. To withdraw so fully and deeply that you go from the experience called limitless space to this experience called limitless awareness, to this experience called nothing at all, to this experience called peak of suffering existence, although they don't call it suffering, peak of existence, to believe that that's my progress on my spiritual path and that will bring me to nirvana. I'll just stay in seat say forever. Our training says, actually, you don't stay there forever. You stay there a really, really, really long time, yes. And there's no suffering during that really, really, really long time. True. But it wears out eventually. So we don't learn these. We don't train in these, except in lion's dance, which I don't quite get. Well, I do. For planting some other seeds in which these experiences will be used in a different way. When we think about that moment of the end of this life and the projecting karma that pops, it's like a numbers game. The more of any particular type of karmic seed you have, the more likely one of those will be the one that pops out, right? And so it would take many, many hours in one of these deep meditative concentrations to make enough seeds so that there'd be enough in there that one of them could be the one that pops out. So I don't know if that's helpful or not. This isn't meant to say, well, be careful with your depth of meditation, because you get into one of these, you're going to end up as a formless realm being. Possible. But if we don't have many, many, many hours of those meditation seeds worth of seeds, the likelihood of one of them popping as we go through death is kind of remote. It's much more likely that, my daily selfishness seeds will be one that pops, and I won't get anywhere close to a formless realm, so nothing to worry about. For me, at least. I don't know about you. So where are these formless realms, and how do we get there between the end of this life, the death of this life, and the beginning of that one? When we understand that the formless realm really, really, really is a place where there is no form like this, no physical form, even no physical form in the sense of really, really subtle physical form. It's only awareness and the prana that can move that awareness. Can a place like that be a physical place? Does it need a physical place to be in? Does our mind need a physical place to reside, or else it can't be? No. Do we have always a physical place in our ripening? Mostly, except maybe during dream and deep sleep. But in formless realm, there's no place called formless realm. The formless realm is wherever the formless realm being mind is, which they say means that wherever your current body is when its last moment of that life goes off and finishes, and the first moment of your form realm seed ripens, your form realm will be right there. But that's in error because there's no there for it to be. It's just where you were is the same place where the formless realm will be for you. But by then, you're not like going, oh, wow, my bedroom at home sure looks different. It's not that at all. There's this just shift. The reason they point it out is because to die from a desire realm and go to another desire realm rebirth, there is a new place that the new desire realm rebirth, its seeds will ripen a new place. And if you die in Arizona and your seeds are ripening the new you in Singapore, it apparently takes time for your whatever it is to get from Arizona to Singapore. This is one that I have on the shelf because it's like, come on, you don't have to buy a ticket on the plane. But the shift apparently takes some time. How long? Up to 49 days. You know, again, on the shelf for me. I don't quite understand. But same for Hell Realm, Hungry Ghost Realm, these other realms that we'll be talking about more. It takes time. End of this life before these new seeds fill in enough of the details that we have the experience, you know, me fetus, me hell being, me whatever. It takes time. And that period of time is called the bardo, the in-between time. So we'll talk about the bardo later. Formless realm does not have a bardo. If we're going to formless realm, there's not a bardo time. It's end of this one, start of that one, because there's no need for the getting somewhere different. You know, again, it's like, well, wait a minute. There is no somewhere different to go, but right, for me on the shelf. It takes form to separate places. Curious. So if there's no place that the formless realm is, how can there be 4 different levels of it? Right? I think 4 different levels. Here they are, all stacked up. Somebody's going to end up on the top one, like, you know, the top level of the wedding cake, and the rest are in the lower. But of course, that's thinking of it wrongly, that rather the mind and the experience of that mind that we're saying is in the Namkataye level of formless realm. That's all there is for them. There's no other realms, other levels of the formless realm. That's their reality. It's just this Namkataye. We're calling it that. I suspect that the being who is a formless realm being is not thinking to itself, experiencing to itself, oh, I'm in Namkataye and I'd rather be in Sitse. I think it's just how we're explaining these different experiences that one could be in formless realm. I guess based on somebody remembering having spent eons of lifetimes there and then lost it. Somebody remembers their past lives. Anyway. How's my time doing? So Namkataye, limitless space, is describing a state of mind where the experience is like limitless space. The experience is mind experiencing mind, like what we would call limitless space. It's a quality of concentration. Namshetaye is a quality of concentration that's even more subtle. And that's where the mind is experiencing, can I say, itself. The experience is limitless awareness. So there's a difference between space and awareness in terms of subtlety. Limitless space is more gross than limitless awareness. In a realm where there's no grossness whatsoever. Xiang Mei means nothing at all. So even subtler yet, a level of concentration that we're explaining as being where nothing's happening at all. So apparently, this was the meditation that the Master Huashang was teaching. Withdraw, 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 go through these different levels, reach this one where that very subtle state of mind is completely shut down, shut off. And that achieving that level of nothingness would be ultimate reality. And then, Kamala Shila was invited in to debate with him because people were confused. Not because they thought it was wrong. They were just confused. We don't understand. So let's bring in another meditation master and let them duke it out logically and see what practice makes more sense for the goals that we want to achieve. And Master Kamala Shila won the debate. His basic argument was, if you plant seeds for a mind that's completely shut down, right, that's going to make an experience of a mind completely shut down, and any rabbit can do that. So it's not really going to be helpful in the long run to get beyond the withdrawal from the attraction to the senses and use that level of concentration to analyze the true nature of things in order to get to a direct experience of the absence of self-natures, which is not a nothing at all. Far from it. So Nam Chiang Mei is not a goal. And then lastly, the peak of existence. It's not just the peak of formless realm, it's peak of all suffering existence, from the lowest hell up to Tsitse, is what they're comparing Tsitse quality of mind to. The highest level one's mind can experience still in a suffering realm. All that's there is pervasive suffering. So subtle. We do need to learn to meditate with powerful meditative concentration, single-pointed concentration. But to just withdraw further and further into more and more subtle states of mind is not the goal, and in fact perpetuates suffering dangerously. All right, I said that. So Geshe-la always throws in, we do need to reach that meditative concentration that is planting the seeds that would cause a first level of the form realm rebirth if one of them pops at the moment of death. That's not why we're doing that depth of meditation. We're doing that depth of meditation because that's the concentration necessary to penetrate through, to experience emptiness directly. When we're at that level of concentration, it doesn't automatically make us see emptiness directly. And it doesn't automatically make our effort to analyze and come to the conclusion about the no self nature of our object, but it's the platform of goodness that can, right, ripen the circumstances of whoosh, you go into it. So if we don't have the ability to get to that platform, or at least to get close to it on a regular basis, the likelihood of having all those circumstances come together at the right time and right place to be able to push us into that direct experience of ultimate reality, they just decrease. The chances decrease. And those in the know say it takes at least an hour of meditative effort daily, regularly, to be accumulating the number of seeds for effort to be at deep concentration in order to have what it takes to hold it deeply enough for the 10 to 20 minutes that we would need for the direct perception of emptiness. He likens it to an athlete in training or a performer in training. We train for many, many, many more hours than we perform. But because of our hours and hours of training, when it's time to pour out 100%, we can sustain it for that period of time that we need it. Without the effort of the training, we wouldn't be able to sustain that quality of concentration called direct perception of emptiness. Those hours and hours of training, if you've trained, a lot of time making mistakes, a lot of time making corrections. It's not like every training session is so perfect. They're all goofed and try again and try again. Meditation the same. So a lousy meditation is better than no meditation at all. And build up a minute a week, having started from 5 minutes, and in a year, your life has adjusted around a 1 hour meditation. And then we learn, well, it's a little more because you need to do your preliminaries first and then your closing prayers after. So, you keep adding a minute for a while until you've got your hour and a half lifetime adjustment made. So that we're building the seeds to be able to sustain that performance, seeing emptiness directly when it comes time. And no need to go any higher or deeper in your concentration than that. Yay, right? Makes it sound doable. All right, let's take a break. Wait a minute. I missed 2 vocabularies. All right, so these 4 levels of the formless realm beings are the results of seeds planted by 4 different kinds of meditations, as I just said. The meditation that will land you in the peak of existence of suffering world is a meditation called peak of existence. So we don't learn this, but other beings might. The meditation that will land you in the nothing at all level is, guess what? A meditation called nothing at all, the one the Washang was teaching. Then to end up in the formless realm called limitless awareness is a meditation called limitless awareness. So you would think that the meditation that lands us in the limitless space level would be a meditation called limitless space, but it's not. It's called Du She Me Min. Du She Me means non-conceptual. Du She Me Min means not non-conceptual. So there's this meditation where you reach this state, you try to reach this state where you are in non-conceptual and not non-conceptual state. Like those are contradictory. What in the world is that? And whatever it is, it plants the seeds that can ripen as a whole lifetime in limitless space quality of formless realm being. Now, I think the reason that it's brought up, although Geshe Michael did not point this out in class, is that if you recall, when we were studying Diamond Cutter's Sutra, Lord Buddha's answer to the Bodhisattva was, you're going to take all living beings to nirvana. And those living beings, they are beings who are born from a womb and born from warmth and moisture and born miraculously and born from eggs. And those who are not conceptual and not conceptual. And those who are, I can't remember the rest of them. And all of those beings that you're going to take to nirvana, you know, there's no such being that you're going to take to nirvana, which is why you can take them to nirvana. Get it? So this is pointing out, yeah, good. Thanks for your honesty, Natty. No, I don't think I get it either. This is a state of meditation, and so a state of mind that is called non-conceptual and not non-conceptual. And apparently these deep meditations, one can stay in that meditation for a really long time. So not just meaning, oh, you set your timer for 3 hours and you can stay. But you hear of those stories of a, great meditator. They sat in meditation for 6 years. It's like that kind of meditation we're talking about. And it's like, wait, a human can't do that. Apparently, you can't. So there are, according to Master Kamala-Shila's commentary on Diamond Cutter's Sutra, he says when Buddha's pointing out who all the beings we need to help, there are beings who are in this level of meditation right now. And they're just creating for themselves more suffering. They think they're stopping suffering, but they're not. So include them in your wish to reach total enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. Don't forget those that are in this deep level of meditation. They need your help too. So Geshe gave us 3 explanations for how is it that a mind can exist without a body. Like if we didn't wonder, we should, apparently. So in the continuum of a person, what we call a person. Is that person physical or mind? Physical or mental, the person. Like Sarani, is Sarani physical? Sarani has a body, but this body isn't Sarani because if I cut my finger off, I am no less Sarani. I'm just a Sarani with only, right, 3 fingers. And is Sarani the mind, the thinking? No, it's an idea, right? It's an idea imposed upon some other information that then that idea imposed becomes Sarani has a mind. Sarani has a body, but Sarani is neither body nor mind. Well, then what the heck is it? It's a concept. It's that existing thing that's neither mental nor physical. You remember that category of all existing things in that chart? So one explanation for how it is that a mind can exist without a body is that the me is a concept. Now, how that quite answers the mind can exist without a body is a little slippery because we're not using the word mind and mental thing as synonyms. The mind has mental experiences, but somehow this thing mind seems to be bigger than those things which are mental. And again, it's not completely clear how this argument that Sarani is a concept helps me understand how a mind can exist without a body. Then the second explanation that somebody gives is, well, look, your life energy continues and mind rides on that. So that prana that I was talking about is so subtle in the formless realm. It's not a new prana that we didn't have before. It's movement, the winds that move our minds and our minds that ride on the winds that move them. They go so hand in hand that as long as there's a mind, there's a wind. And as long as there's a wind, there's a mind riding on it. And that wind, that energy, that prana is never lost. It never disappears. It changes. It's a changing thing, changing. But it's not like the prana of this life will disappear at the end of this life. It's the seeds change. And that makes the end of this life. But the prana that is part of this life, carrying the mind that's part of this life, that prana goes on constantly. So subtle. It doesn't have to have the physical part. It is the physical part, right? Then third argument is, well, you know, the mind is karma, movement of the mind, and what it motivates. The mind continues because of karma. The karma for mind makes more mind. It doesn't necessarily have to make body to have mind. Our karmic seeds for mind are karmic seeds for mind. Our karmic seeds for body are karmic seeds for body. You can have, oh, I almost want to say one without the other, but you can't have a body without a mind and call it a body. You would call it a log or a rock, and it wouldn't be you. Because to be you, it has to have this conceptualization of me. not body, not mind. All right, lastly, Abhidharma Kosha says that we can have a mind without a body because of the fact of one's own impermanence. It's like, oh, another real obvious argument there. The fact of one's own impermanence, the impermanence of Sarani, is this subtle changing nature of continued existence. So it's like the fact that Sarani will die proves that the mind goes on. You know, not directly. It's gonna not, the proof is not direct. We would go through like before we learn, oh, I see. And it's given in Abhidharma Kosha. Specialist says basically mind carries mind makes mind seeds, and mind seeds make more mind. And so to have a mind now, which you know you do, it's like the one thing we really know, I am aware, means you will always have a mind. Not the one you're familiar with now, but technically that one is gone by the time you recognize it anyway. So continuing. So you're going to have a homework question that says, what distinguishes the formless realm from the other two? And it's the level of subtlety of the mind. This thing we call mind is a really slippery creature, I find. Sometimes they're talking about mind, and it sounds like what they mean is our thoughts. And for me, my thoughts are these mental words that chatter along inside there. But then we can have a thought about something and it never makes it into mental word. I don't know, maybe call it an idea or an impression or a feeling. But there had to have been an awareness happening. And then that awareness happening, like there's no limit as to what it can be aware of according to whatever is ripening. And it's within every ripening that is ripening, isn't it? So in each one of the different realms, desire, form, and formless, at each of the different levels of them, the being of that realm, of that level, and the realm itself are defined by their own unique mental afflictions and attachments, their own unique karmic seeds ripening, which is to say the same thing. Mental afflictions and attachments. The formless realm beings get afflictions about their own minds. I can't relate to that. Okay. That's all I apparently have to say about formless realm. No doubt there's a whole lot more in it in the Abhidharma Kosha about it. So next in Abhidharma Kosha comes an explanation on the 5 kinds of birth. And we've talked about the 3 realms and the different levels in the 3 realms. And so, and those different realms ripen at the end of this life. So it's natural. It's a nice question. It's a nice answer to a question maybe we weren't smart enough to even ask. It's like, how do you get born there? What are births like? So there are apparently 5 different kinds of birth and 4 different ways of taking birth. So here, when we say birth, taking birth, we are always talking about semchen. So this word semchen, it is the word for a being that has awareness, but it has within it the connotation of a suffering being awareness. So Buddhas are not considered semchen. Do Buddhas have minds? Absolutely. But they don't have suffering minds. And so semchen means a being with a mind that is suffering. And then we have to think about it, because it's like, wait, there are some good days and I'm not suffering. And does that mean on those days I'm not a semchen? And it's like, I hope, but probably not. No, probably it's a desire realm good day from some kind of amazing goodness that we did in some lifetime. Maybe this one, maybe not. But it's going to end. So when we're talking about rebirths, we're talking about the rebirth of any being with a mind. Rocks don't get reborn, apparently. Trees aren't considered semchen. Plants are not considered semchen in these teachings. At what point, is a algae, a plant, or is it a semchen? I don't know. But we're not talking about just human rebirth, and we're not talking about just animal rebirth or bug rebirth, which would be our limited understanding if we still believed the only living beings had to be either human, animal, or bug. Now we know that there are other beings with minds in our suffering world that are included in this 5 kinds of birth and 4 ways of taking it. So there are 5 semchens, 5 kinds of suffering beings. We've already learned hell beings, hungry ghosts or craving spirit beings, animal beings, human beings, and the pleasure beings called deva or hla. And we'll see within the pleasure beings, there's different levels. So now it's a little confusing, because we have form realm beings are called pleasure beings, and we have desire realm beings who are called pleasure beings, but their pleasure is different. The desire realm pleasure beings are having different exquisite experiences than does form realm. And then there's one other kind of being that's not given its own designation as a 6th kind of being, which is the bardo being. Because it's not its own rebirth with its own world. They all do an in-between. So in-between gets its own category, not as a separate kind of being, but the being in between. In between what? Death and rebirth. Not between life and death, but between death and rebirth. So there are these 5 different kinds of births one can take. you'll get born into a hell realm. I hope none of you ever, but somebody will get born into a hell realm. But you don't get born into a hell realm as a hell baby, right? To hell mother, hell father, and you go through your toddler stage. It's not like that. You just get born as a hell being. Poof, you're there. It's called a birth. So any of these beings, they can be born in these different ways. And then we'll recognize how the birth type is related somehow to the being that's getting born. All right, so here's the 4 ways to take birth. Zuke, Drusherlekewa, Ngelke, and Gonke. Ke means birth, to be born, to take existence. Zu means miracle. So Zuke means miracle birth. Like, wow, you get born as Jesus, right? Immaculate birth. Or Padma Sambhava. You just show up, on the lotus. You don't get pushed through the birth canal. You just show up. But it sounds then like we'd be limited to being this like really, really, really special being that has this really, really, really special birth. But what they mean by miracle birth is to be born complete, meaning poof, you just show up there, and whatever you are, whatever you relate to yourself as, that's it. You don't be born into the hell realm as a 2-year-old and have to grow up. You're just there, right? Probably adult, unless, you would, if you tried to pin it down, it's like, well, why couldn't you be a 6-year-old hell realm, right? If your mind ripens that kind of seed, you could be. But then as long as you're in the hell realm, you'll still be that. It's not like you're growing up. It's not like you're maturing. You're just being a hell realm being with what they do. So to be born complete, one way of being born. Second one, Drusher Lekewa, means to be born from warmth and moisture. Science calls it spontaneous generation. And science thinks there's no such thing now because you can always find some little dormant egg case in the dirt that finally got enough warm water that it activated and became the little mosquito larvae. And it's like, whoa, that makes much more sense than warm enough and moist enough, and bingo, there's life. Like, life doesn't work like that, does it? So, it doesn't matter whether we say, no, there has to have been an egg there. These conditions come together and then life is there, is the meaningfulness of the Drusher Lekewa kind of rebirth. So one lifetime ends, bardo happening, and then certain warmth and moisture. I mean, they literally say warmth and moisture, not dust and fire, warmth and moisture. The mind ripens that, and it ripens life, that next life. Probably bug life, but I don't know. Who else might be born from warmth and moisture? I don't know. Next one is Ngelke. It's the pre-nasal N with the gal, Ngelke. It means birth from a womb. Oh, finally, something we understand. Humans mammals, some fish, some reptiles give birth from a womb. Gyonke, birth from an egg. Birds, most fish, most reptiles. I don't know if helpings get born from eggs, or haven't heard that. So these last two seem to apply to human and animal realm, that the other realms are born in one of these other two ways, either complete or from warmth and moisture. Abhidharma Kosha explains that the first beings to appear on a planet take birth complete. They just show up there as adults, fully clothed even. Then it says how those beings' interactions with others over time degenerates and goes on to where that world is itself destroyed completely. And sometimes it's destroyed by water, and sometimes it's destroyed by wind, and sometimes it's destroyed by fire. And it explains the sequence of how that happens. And before the actual sequence of the end of the planet is triggered, the circumstance must be that the hell realms related to that planet must have been cleared out, meaning no new hell realm beings are born in that world's hell realm. And that means those that are in it, right, eventually are going to wear off their hell realm seeds and disappear when they do. And eventually there'll be no more beings in the hell realm of that world. And then, you would think that would be such a good thing, it would sustain the world. But apparently that's what allows the circumstances such that that world can then be destroyed. If it gets destroyed while there's still hell beings, I don't know. It's like the hell beings would be left with no, I don't understand it. But there's this common sequence of what makes a world and how long that existence will be based on beings in the different realms related to that particular world, that particular planet. We'll talk more about it. There's another really confusing class that goes into all of that. So pleasure beings are born complete. Hell beings are born complete. Hungry ghosts, it's apparently debatable because there are some stories about hungry ghosts where the hungry ghost is a woman who has lots of kids. But it doesn't actually say whether the kids are hungry ghosts as well. It's the mother with all the kids that's the hungry ghost. So that one's not quite so clear. So the scripture says humans can actually have any one of these types of births. Humans can be born complete. They can be born from warmth and moisture. They can be born from a womb. They can be born from egg. On the shelf. But keep in mind that when we say human, there are 4 different kinds of humans that live on those 4 different continents. The only one we're familiar with, if you're like me, is these ones, the humans of Zambuling. So maybe the 4 different kinds of birth relate to the 4 different kinds of humans on the 4 different continents. It's Geshe-la did not clarify. And then some of these 4 births are considered better births than others. When we talk about lower realms and higher realms, a good birth or a bad birth, this is talking about the extent to which the birth hurts somebody. So if we were choosing to be reborn, like if we had that option and we're bodhisattva choosing to be reborn, and you think of these different ways that you could be reborn, your concern would be, how much do I hurt somebody in doing it? Somebody else. So to be born complete, just poof, you're there. That's the highest kind of birth, because you don't hurt anybody doing it. So you could start this debate. It's like, well, then hell beings have the highest kind of birth because they're born complete, but in the worst kind of suffering. Like, how does that work? The second kind of goodness birth is the Drusherle Kewa, because you being born through warmth and moisture, it's not so comfortable, the warmth and moisture that you get born out of. There's a little discomfort for you yourself. So that would be the Bodhisattva's second choice. And then third one is the Ngelke, the womb birth, because to be born from a womb hurts the mom once and hurts you once. It hurts to get pushed out. It hurts to do the pushing, and it hurts to be pushed through that canal. So 2 beings getting hurt. The worst rebirth is rebirth from an egg, because it hurts the mom to push the egg out, and it hurts you to be the egg getting pushed out, and then you have to peck your way out of the egg, and that hurts you again. So 2 beings, but more suffering to be born from an egg. So then scripture says the frequency of these 4 is in the same order, meaning the born complete is the most common kind of rebirth. And again, if we go back to human thinking, miraculous rebirth, no, that's not common at all. But when we understand it as born complete, we still think, well, that's not common at all. Except that there are so many more hell beings, hungry ghosts, pleasure beings, than there are humans and animals. So think of all the humans we know about, what, 9 billion? And how many animals, uncountable number of animals. There's more beings who are born complete in those other realms than that. Why are we pointing that out? Because I'm going to reach total enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. All is a big number. Next level is the Duque Jusher Lake Kewa from warmth and moist. You get it. Apparently, there are a lot of beings born from warmth and moisture. Gail K, womb birth, egg birth. Okay. Then the text talks about the level of awareness, or the different possible levels of awareness that one could have as they are taking their rebirth. So the text says that someone who's a chakravartin, like their seeds must, the seed that's popped is a seed for chakravartin. Chakravartin means this wheel turning emperor. They're said to have such good karma that they automatically become the ruler of the world that they get reborn into. They show up and everybody says, wow, you're so special. Please be our king. A chakravartin. We've heard the story that when Buddha was born, the seer said, you know, he could either be the greatest ruler of the world or the greatest spiritual seeker of the world. And he chose to be the spiritual seeker. And that later, as he's manifesting getting enlightened, he again like got offered, you know, to be ruler of the world. And he said, thanks, but no thanks. Turned it down. So something similar to this chakravartin thing. As these beings enter a womb, they apparently know what's going on. So most of us don't, and we'll learn more about it. Then there's the quality of being called self-made arhat. Now, why they distinguish arhat from self-made arhat? I'm not, well, yeah, I guess it is. It's to say a Hinayana level arhat versus a Mahayana level arhat. They also have awareness of entering the womb, and they have awareness of staying in the womb. So that implies the chakravartin has the goodness to know they're entering a womb, but then that awareness shifts and they are no longer aware that that's where they are and what they're doing. I would guess they're probably not even aware of being chakravartin at that time. Then this self-made arhat is aware of going in and staying. And then the third category they talk about is Buddhas. Like a Buddha, of course, is aware of entering, staying, and coming out. Buddhas are aware of everything. Of course, they're going to be aware of all three. And then it says, and beings who are born from eggs, they're not aware of any of it. And it's like, it sure seems like beings born from wombs, beings, you know, are, most of us are not aware of any of it. So why they say beings born from eggs are not aware? I don't quite understand that one either. So then the Abhidharma Kosha asked the question, well, wait a minute. Why would a Buddha choose to go through being born from a womb if it gives such pain to the mom, let alone themselves? You know, we can see why they'd be willing to take the pain themselves, but why would they choose that womb rebirth? And why didn't he just be born complete? So Mahayana says that he went through all of that as this big charade to show us the truth of suffering. And it's like the poor mom had to be in on it if he's going to take the rebirth through the mom's womb. But if he didn't, if he had just shown up complete, humans would not be able to relate to his story. Right? He's special. He just showed up miraculously. Yeah, he can tell me everything in life is suffering, but right? He's missing a piece. That piece of being born, because he didn't do it. So he did do it. Maybe the mom was in on it. His job in showing up as Shakyamuni, who apparently became Shakyamuni Buddha, was to show the truth of suffering, that truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of the path to the end of suffering. And everything about that last life, Prince Siddhartha becoming Shakyamuni Buddha, was about that demonstration. Okay. So Geshe-la said, you know, this chapter of the Abhidharma Kosha is not usually taught to a lay audience. The monastics learn it, but not the rest of us. You can see why, right? In modern times, it's hard to accept. Science tells us blah, blah, blah. And science is right. And it's like, we'll understand the power of this course when we like get more deeply that there really are beings beyond human and animal, beings beyond our direct sensory experience who are very real, and their suffering is beyond compare. And it's all born of my own seeds. And am I creating more seeds to create more of those beings, let alone myself as one of them? The power of just this little bit of insight into these other realms, according to Master Vasubandhu, plants these deep seeds to grow our compassion beyond what we can conceive when we first get started. Why do we want to grow our compassion? So that our behavior choosing motivation gets stronger to change from selfish to otherish, all-ish. And in doing so, the seeds that we plant are the goodness seeds that will help our meditation deepen and our intellectual understanding of emptiness grow, leading us to that direct experience of the true nature of all existing things, particularly our own self, our own mind, our own being. which is that doorway to the conveyor belt, to the end of suffering for everyone. That's why we're studying this stuff. To learn about the suffering. I hope you don't have nightmares. It is a really harsh set of classes. Please hang in there. Right? Don't guilt trip yourself. The seeds to get a class like this and stay are incredible good seeds. So we're replanting goodness by studying this stuff because we're motivated to do so to help somebody else stop their suffering forever. And maybe they never need to take this class. We're doing it for them. All right. So remember that person we wanted to be able to help. We've learned stuff we didn't want to know that we will use to help them in that deep and ultimate way. And that's an extraordinary goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you, keep you out of a hell realm. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that 1%. To share it with everyone you love. To share it with every existing being everywhere, everywhere. See them all filled with happiness, filled with loving kindness. And may it be so. Okay. Thank you again for the opportunity. Have a nice weekend. Do your homework.